comic enthusiasts! Welcome back to HC Comics, your gateway to the colorful and captivating world of comics. Today, we're embarking on the next exciting chapter of this comic series together. Wishing you all some relaxing moments as we dive into HC Comics adventure. Returning to the main developments of the story, in this episode, we start with the scene.
Which side do you want to be your real parents? Good answer. I am going to go with the side that people are most likely to believe. What do you think? Which set of parents is more likely to fool people? I don't think anybody believed that the couple that the Baron brought were your real parents. They probably thought that it was something the Emperor cooked up, since that's a common way of hiding your true parentage.
But because there was another couple WHO made the same claim, it actually made the nobles that I bought off look more credible. Then I should say that the couple from BLUVOHAN are my parents, right?
You're quick to catch on. Then I trust you know what to do next.
Of course, now that I have parents WHO are nobles. That makes me a noble, too.
If it hadn't been for His Majesty making it his intention to make me his Empress, I'd have had to rely on the trust and support of the commoners to make my dreams come true. But things are different now.
I'm now a member of a noble family, and my child will be His Majesty's son. It's perfect. Nothing can hold me back now. By the way, there's something you should keep in mind. Are you talking about winning over the council members? That's going to take a while. I'm talking about something else. You have to treat your fake parents as if they were your real parents.
We weren't trying to trick your majesty. Look at the state of them. It's no wonder they tried to sell their family name, which nobles value more than their own lives. And in doing so, they were accused of criminal behavior, so they must be desperate. Think carefully before you answer. WHO was the person WHO deceived you?
It seems RASHTA has at least 4 parents. I'm doing the exact same thing as my father despite thinking it was pathetic in the past. No, what I did was even more ridiculous. I must look like such a fool.
Are you absolutely set on doing this, Your Majesty? May I suggest that you take some time to there's no time. That's why I have no choice. What? Aren't they just selling their title to claim I'm their daughter?
It would be fine to think of it that way as a lowly mistress, but you're aiming higher, aren't you?
The Empress's brother pushed my mistress. WHO is pregnant with my child, causing her to fall to the ground. He also abducted and assaulted a nobleman in order to obtain information to use against her. From the Empire. As the Emperor, I must take the necessary steps to protect them. I have not been able to produce an heir for a long time due to the Empress being infertile. Therefore, I intend to file for
Your Majesty?
Therefore, I intend to file for divorce. Scribble, I ask that you visit me as soon as possible. High Priest Vimirey. Therefore, I intend to file for divorce. I ask that you visit me as soon as possible. High Priest Vimirey. I want you to deliver this to him in person.
There may be mistresses WHO have fake parents, but there are no empresses WHO do. Oh.
Her Majesty is still young. I believe it's too early to conclude that she's infertile. But we've been married for years, and she's never become pregnant. Grand Duke Rylan is next in line to the throne if I do not produce an heir. But it's more likely that his son HereLee will become the next emperor. Lord HereLee is. The Grand Duke knows his place and has no interest in becoming the emperor now. But once his son sits on the throne, he will take advantage of Lord HereLee's weak personality to exert his power over him. And abuse it. I'm sure Her Majesty will be with child soon. But still, why doesn't Your Majesty wait a few years? If your marriage is still childless after that, then why Her Majesty can consider other options for a legitimate heir. My firstborn will already be a couple of years old by then. Have you considered how hurt my firstborn will feel if I consider that child to be illegitimate and make the second child my heir? The Empress is infertile. Point 50. Just go and deliver the letter. I will need to speak to the High Priest about the grounds for divorce anyway. The next day at Viscount Lotchu's estate. BOLINCE there. Don't cry. Wah. Bounce WAAH. Father, would you like to hold him? Stop getting on my nerves. How can father be so reluctant to let Ian in his heart? That couple will treat you like a long-lost daughter. So you have to act like they're your parents WHO you've been miraculously reunited with. When he's this cute.
I really want Rashta to see Ian. What are you up to? I went to see how father is doing. With that thing? Stop carrying him around, for goodness sake. Father's condition is more likely to take a turn for the worse once he lays eyes on him. How dare you call your nephew that thing? I'm sorry, but it's impossible for me to be nice to him because of how he looks. Clatter is the spitting image of his mother. He looks just like her.
Anne. Father? Imagine what? Tremble what in the world? Father. Ilmain. Burst in. Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling funny? How dare you? There's nothing wrong with me, you ungrateful wretch. You understand what I mean, right? Phew, I guess you're okay. Then why were you screeching like a banshee? A banshee? I've had it with you today. Whack, stop mouthing off at me and take a look for yourself. Couples claim to be the parents of His Majesty's mistress. Russell, what? Rashta's parents are nobles? Of course not. That makes no sense. Do you know who her parents are? I do. I sure do. Her parents are crooks. And I'm not saying this as an insult. They are genuine crooks. That's it. Get me my clothes. Father, you're not well enough to get up yet. Parents who are nobles? What litter nonsense. They're obviously con artists. Either that or she hired some people to act as her parents. The West Tower. Since its surroundings have changed over the years, the name is no longer accurate. It's now listed mainly as a place to lock up members of the imperial family who have been ousted due to political conflicts or crimes they have committed. The West Tower. Take a good look at them. Rashta. This couple claims that they are your parents.
Oh.
I think they're telling the truth. Oh, Rashta, my sweet child, we've been looking for you a very long time. I can only imagine how you suffered for all these years. Chatter scribble. Thankfully, no one is asking for a paternity mother, father. I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised. Even commoners consider paternity tests to be embarrassing. Block whisper, mark my words. If it turns out that you are lying, I will have you executed. When there are no prisoners, the guard's room on the first floor is sometimes used to temporarily detain nobles who are yet to be sentenced or require interrogation. This is a surprise. What brings you here? Isn't it obvious? I'm here as your guardian. As my guardian? Don't be absurd. These two people are my guardians. Are those two the couple who were mentioned in the newspaper? Are they the ones who are claiming to be your parents? They're not claiming to be my parents. It's true. True? They're crooks. How dare you call my parents crooks? They're not your parents.
Tell his lordship that he may leave.
That's why this couple is being held here now. Deceive. It was B. Baron Lanta. He told us Your Majesty wanted us to pretend to be Lady Rashta's parents. You've done well. Now go and get some rest. Oh. I heard that winning over the in-laws is the best way to improve one's standing with one's wife. You look a lot like your sister. Target number 1. Why don't you take a moment to rest up first? Let's talk after you've freshened up and had some rest. Does he know Navier? I mean, they must have met, but... Adjust. How did he know my size? Well, I'm sure it will all become clear once I find out what this is about. Like I thought, red suits you too. It's good to know these things about my future in-laws. Pardon me, Your Majesty. Oh, that. Cough. I'm sorry about that. I keep grabbing this one out of habit. That handkerchief originally belonged to Empress Navier. Ahem, I know. My father gave it to her as a gift after embroidering it himself. He sewed it himself. Then, this handkerchief is a gift from my future father-in-law. This won't do. I'll have to put her in her place very soon. She'll regret turning me away like this.
Is everything all right? Yes, there's no need to worry. Please, have a seat.
So, your names are Marcia and Gilimt, right? Viscountess Marcia Ishka and Viscount Gilimt from Bluvohan.
I don't know if you've already heard this from Duke Ergi. But we really did lose our 2 daughters. We were attacked by a group of thieves called the Spring Water Bandits, so we were forced to flee.
The children escaped with their nannies, but they went missing afterwards. We've been looking for our daughters ever since. It's embarrassing to say, but we have now exhausted our family fortune back use of the long search. Our eldest is the same age as you, and our youngest is a little younger. Nanana, actually, I have a sister who looks just like me. And she's still unmarried. Are we there yet, Lord Corsair? Oh, is that the entrance? No, it's not. Please come back. Oh dear, this is His Majesty, King Heinrich I of the Western Kingdom. Your Majesty. Perfect. I thought he was just headstrong, but his manners are impeccable. Manners. He looks every bit like a duke's son. I wonder what they're going to talk about. She tied it around my neck.
Navier tied that handkerchief around his neck?
Oops, it was supposed to be a secret. And she did it in secret? What, are you feeling a bit better now? What does this all mean? It's sad, but she proposed a marriage of convenience. She did? This is just a guess, but I think Emperor Soviashu is preparing to divorce Empress Navier. He looks a lot like Navier. This is the first time I've noticed the resemblance. As I said, I don't know the exact circumstances behind it. But she's not the type to propose marriage without a reason. Since she was raised to be an empress from a young age, Navier can't imagine stepping down from her position. But if she suggested a marriage of convenience to the king of the Western Kingdom, that means she might have overheard Sovieshu promising his mistress that he will divorce Navier. Because people who are blinded by love often do irrational things. Yes, though I must admit I can't tell you why. I pretended to be a womanizer while secretly pre-airing to go to war. The other reason I cultivated this image was to ensure my brother, who people thought was less qualified to be a king, would look better. But I can't tell him these things. I understand you have accepted Navier's proposal, but how are you planning to make it happen? What are the next steps? Are you positive that Navier is getting divorced? Sigh, that's the problem. Please help yourself while we chat, future brother-in-law. Stop calling me that. Not even Sovieshu was like this, and he's my actual brother-in-law. Empress Navier and I used a messenger bird to exchange letters. A messenger bird? Yes, and that was how she was supposed to let me know the circumstances in detail. However, I received some bad news while you were freshening up. It seems Emperor Sovieshu has found out about our correspondence. Good heavens, so we can't send messages via a messenger bird anymore, which is a problem. We'll have to find another way. Have you come up with anything yet? There are ways, but I don't know anything about him besides what I've heard from rumors. And this is the first time I've met him in person, but I can tell that he's not lying about liking Navier. It seems you've accepted the proposal. Why is that?
Even if it is a short-lived infatuation, it's probably better than getting divorced and not being able to do anything about it. To Navier, being an empress isn't just about the power that comes with the title. Being an empress is who she is. I have a solution. My friend, Marquis Falhan, raises messenger birds at his estate in the outskirts of the capital.
Oh, then I can send my messenger bird there. He won't check the contents of the letter if I write to him to let him know that he shouldn't. You can then pass on a message to Navier that way. I've heard that the recent article about that woman has caused quite a stir among the commoners. Apparently, everyone has been talking about her as if she's the main character in a fairy tale. They said it was a fairy tale come true or something.
Rashta must be happy now that she's in the spotlight because of this romantic backstory. And the commoners will also like it if she becomes the empress because she's from an ordinary background. I'll only make myself upset by thinking about this. Right now, I should think of a way to contact Heinrey. Perhaps if I borrow one of Marquis Falhan's messenger birds. Your Majesty, Marquis Falhan is here to see you. What did you want to see me about?
I'm here to deliver something to you. It's because I like her a lot.
What's that?
Corsair asked me to give this to you. He's currently staying at the royal palace of the Western Kingdom. He is? Maybe Heinrey has spoken to him already?
He asked me to deliver this confidential message to you quickly without reading it. What does it say? I'd like to know more about how things are developing on your end. We should plan our next steps together. Also, please tell me whether we can take our time putting things in motion or whether we need to proceed quickly.
By the way, I met your brother. He looks a lot like you. It makes me want to see you, HereLee.
He has a knack for sigh, making me feel at ease.
I'm guessing it must have been good news. Oh, Marquis Falhan. Nana, that's all I need to know. You should write a reply. The bird that brought the letter is still at my house, so I'll send him back with your reply. Was it a blue messenger bird, by any chance? It was. Do you know that bird? I put it in a feeder box, so it should be eating to its heart's content right now. I see. The blue bird is.
Because people who are blinded by love often do irrational things.
In a feeder box, Your Majesty? Troubled Your Majesty. If that bird is McKenna, then it's probably. Was the bird hurt? Rais, I didn't manage to take a good look at it, so I'm not sure.
I'm sure it must be healthy since they wouldn't send an injured bird to deliver a message. It might be a different messenger bird to the one I know, but if it's as Duke Arrow said, and he went back because his injuries were healed, then.
I'd like you to check if it has any INJ rise such as an arrow wound, for example. I'm happy to check for you. I like birds, you see. Although, and this might sound a little strange, but if the bird isn't eating anything from the feeder, can you please let it out of the box? Pardon? I'm more than happy to, but birds generally I love being in the feeder.
I get the feeling that this bird may be an exception.
It's a rather odd request, but I will do as you say. I love her. I accepted her proposal immediately.
Pensive, I wonder what I should write.
I'm not going to peek, so please don't worry about me, Your Majesty.
There are a lot of things I want to say, but I must keep it brief because it's being delivered by a messenger bird. The Emperor is planning to send me packing so that he can marry his lover. I overheard him promise her that he'd divorce me. The sooner we can move things along, the better. The sooner we can move things along, the better. I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that you met my brother. I want to see you, too. Gold is my favorite color. I'm glad I can communicate with HereLee again. It seems the blue messenger bird is fine and so is my brother. How am I going to manage in the Western Kingdom? I'm confident I can do a good job with the tasks assigned to me as I have experience, but it's HereLee's subjects that I'm concerned about.
He's a good judge of character. This is what a ruler should be like. So far, so good.
Since I was the Empress of another territory, they'll be even more curious than usual. Oh dear, am I getting ahead of myself again? Your Majesty, what is it? That woman's fake parents, that is, the couple that Baron Lonta brought, are telling lies. They said that the person WHO told them to ACT like that woman's fake parents was Lord Corsair. ? Keep writing.
And as for his looks, he's certainly good looking enough for her. The only thing is, the rumors about him are quite concerning. I'm not a womanizer. Though I acted like a playboy on purpose, I have never crossed the line. Flustered, you acted like a playboy on purpose? His eyes are green. They're not, but they were definitely.
My brother's eyes are a deep blue. But you're saying that you met him when you don't even know what color his eyes are? And now that I think about it, I think they were blue. I was confused because it was dark when we met him. What color is his hair? It's blonde. He has black hair. Oh my goodness. Are you going to blame the door light for this mistake, too? I couldn't see his hair properly because he was wearing a hat. But I think I remember it being black, now that I think back. Were you listening, Your Majesty? They've never even seen my brother.
They're saying all that nonsense because you threatened them. You're saying I threatened them? That's right, you said his eye and hair color wrong. So they went with what you said. My brother has red eyes and hair. Are you saying that they went with what I said because I lied? That's right, Your Majesty. We lied because we were scared.
Lord Corsair has red hair and red eyes. Your Majesty, Sniffle, you haven't even filled a third of the page yet. Keep writing. I don't know what else I can write. I haven't finished learning everything yet. I need longer to commit this book to memory, Your Majesty. RASHTA. Learning the names of the offices of state and which nobles in charge of each one, which titles they hold, which families they represent, and what they are like as individuals. As well as the number of people in each department and what they do is absolutely fundamental knowledge. It has only been, I know. But, 4 days since I got this book, Your Majesty. Only 4 days?
1 day, or 2 days at most should be enough to learn something like this.
Are you capable of doing that, Your Majesty?
It only took me a day to learn this. The same goes for the Empress.
I'm already picking things up very quickly, Your Majesty. Press that may be the case if this were business as usual.
But these are exceptional circumstances. You know this, don't you? But
I'm not holding you to a high standard. But you should at least know the basics. Just learn 1 book a day. Then you'll be able to perform the basic duties of an empress once you become one. 1 book a day?
you should be able to do it if you spend the whole day learning.
Your Majesty, it hasn't been very long since I learned to read. I come from very different circumstances compared to the Empress. She had plenty of time to study. If she was going to stay a mere mistress, she wouldn't have to learn any of this. But, don't cry, I'll test you on the rest tomorrow. Your maid is very thoughtful. Blush. Why is she blushing while looking at my man?
Your Majesty, Her Majesty has gone to the West Tower.
Your Majesty, as you were. Where is the couple that Baron Lonta brought over? They're in the cell at the end of the hall. It's locked.
I heard that they were backed into a corner because RASHTA said another couple were her real parents.
But that's no reason to lie and bring my brother into it when he had nothing to do with it. Why yes, that's right, Your Majesty. Are you claiming that my brother ordered you to pretend to be Rashta's parents? We had no choice because Your Majesty's brother, Lord Corsair, forced us to agree to do it. Do you even know what my brother looks like?
That's right, Your Majesty. We lied BEACAUSE, we were scared.
Lord Corsair has red hair and red eyes.
Surely he doesn't believe what they're saying. When it's so clear that they are lying. If you insist apples are blue and oranges are purple.
Most people will have little choice but to agree with you because you are the Empress. SOVIESHU doesn't care whether they are telling the truth or not. It doesn't matter what the truth is. In the end, a divorce between an emperor and an empress is about winning people over in the court of public opinion. If that's the case, then...
Empress, what is Soviashu's next move likely to be?
Marquis Karl is not in the palace, Your Majesty. Where is HE, then? I'm afraid I don't know. Sheikh, all I could find out is that he will be away for a few days on His Majesty's orders. So he's the messenger. Press he's the one WHO is delivering the petition for divorce. After he submits the petition to the Great Temple, what's going to happen?
He'll have one-on-one conversations with me and SOVIESHU. First, the High Priest will pay us a visit. Throughout the course of world history, empresses and queens have never remarried. Because it will lead to complications if someone WHO was a member of the imperial or royal family goes on to marry a noble. That's why SOVIESHU will try and prevent me from remarrying anyone else. Not just HEINREY. To get around that, I must secure approval to remarry. Press. When the High Priest comes to visit as part of the divorce proceedings.
Lady Artina, yes, Your Majesty, give this to Marquis Falhan, and tell him to send it with the other letter. Understood, Your Majesty. What is going on, Your Majesty? I'm sorry, I'll tell you once. The dust has settled.
Then he'll ask me at court in front of a crowd of spectators whether I accept Soviashu's request or divorce.
Did you give him the letter? I was unable to, Your Majesty. Marquis Falhan was not at his estate. His butler told me that he went on a trip to SCA friend. But his lordship did not inform him of where exactly he was going. He must be departing for the Western Kingdom. To see my brother. I believe he's on his way to the Western Kingdom. The Western Kingdom? I doubt he will have made it very far, as he visited me just a few hours ago. Go after him, and give him the letter. It's imperative that you give him this letter. Will the letter be delivered in time, before the High Priest arrives? If I agree to it, then the divorce will be finalized. If I reject his request, that will mark the beginning of a protracted legal battle. It's a battle that the Emperor will always end up winning eventually. For a few days after that, SCRIBELE, I couldn't really concentrate on anything. But I was busier than ever before. RASHTA will need time to fully adjust to her new duties. But I can't leave the people of the Eastern Empire stranded in chaos while she gets settled in. She should be able to start granting a daily audience to those WHO requested once she becomes the Empress. As for overseeing the budget, she can probably pretend she understands the correct procedures with Baron Londa's help. And SOVIESHUI will help with any state initiatives that have been ongoing for several generations. But the welfare work that I have been financing personally may be in jeopardy. I would have been able to continue letting these programs if I had operated them under my name or my family's name. But I won't be able to run any organizations that belong to the imperial family. Once I am no longer the Empress, I don't know if RASHTA will operate them with her own money. She'll probably have adjusted to her new role by the time the allocated budget runs out and existing measures have been exhausted. The commoners love and respect her for overcoming the limitations of her station. So I'm sure she'll take care of them once she has familiarized herself with her duties.
That is a lot of documents. Are you doing all the work by yourself? What about your aide? My aide has some other business to attend to. I'm doing it alone because my aide will find it odd that I am taking care of things a few years in advance. What is it? You're making me feel incredibly guilty. Honestly.
You're going to start haunting me in my dreams at this rate. I hope.
Lady Artina arrives before the High Priest does. The next day, the High Priest even declined an invitation to the New Year's ceremony, so I wonder what brings him here.
He must be here on important business. Whisper His Majesty is currently having a conversation with the High Priest in his office with the doors locked.
Haha. I see that the two of you still have a lot to learn when it comes to love. Navier's a novice to the ways of love. I'm an expert. No, His Highness has no idea about love. Your Majesty, I was sure that this couple's future would be filled with happiness. Emperor Sovieshu, what do you mean by this? Please tell me that I misunderstood your petition for divorce. The incidents you cited as grounds for the divorce were not the Empress's fault. The Empress may not have been behind them, but they were for her benefit. What is going on? If you want to claim that the Empress is infertile, you must provide clear evidence. You must keep what I am about to tell you a secret. If you want to claim that the Empress is infertile, you must provide clear evidence. You must keep what I am about to tell you a secret. Are you all right? I'm fine. This incident happened before I had ascended to the throne.
I don't think being a little extra weight matters much in the grand scheme of things. This is the first time your highnesses will be appearing as a couple in public, so you must look as perfect as possible. Both of you must watch what you eat until the ceremony.
But Navier lives for delicious food. I'll have to ask Mother to be less strict with our dietary restrictions.
Cookies?
The Emperor has already sent the petition for divorce to the Great Temple. Since the divorce is likely to be finalized imminently, I would like to remarry as soon as possible.
Plus, the late Empress really liked Navier. I can't turn my back on my child, now that I finally have a potential heir. High Priest Vimirey, I want to protect my child.
Your Majesty, you have a visitor. It's His Holiness, the High Priest. The moment I've been dreading is finally here. Why do you think he wants to see you? I'm not sure. Let's see what he has to say.
Empress Navier.
I see you already know why I'm here. Please take a seat.
Emperor Sovieshu cited several grounds for divorce. He told me your brother Corsair pushed His Majesty's mistress WHO is pregnant with the Emperor's baby. He also said that Corsair abducted and assaulted a noble called Lotteshu to extract information that he could use against the mistress. And he also mentioned that Corsair hired a couple to be the mistress's fake parents as part of a con.
None of those accusations are true. He also said that he must protect his child even though it's being carried by a mistress.
Because you are infertile. That's not true either.
I cannot accept any of the reasons I gave as being grounds for divorce.
What has driven the two of you apart?
The answer's simple. His Majesty loves someone else now. That's all. You will soon need to go through the divorce process. You must put up a fight. Do you understand?
I realized that no matter how much I dread something,
I somehow pull through when I'm forced to face it. Your Majesty, Lady Artina is back. The Crown Prince?
Navier.
Yes, Your Highness?
I brought some cookies.
Is it really alright for me to have some? Of course it's fine to have some. You should have some, too. Munch no thanks, I'm okay. They're for you.
You must be hungry, too. I heard that they stopped giving you snacks.
People will notice for sure if I eat all of them because I'll put on all the weight I lost through my diet.
Those cookies were for Countess Sophia. Can't you ask the palace chefs to bake some more? Why are you giving that woman cookies anyway?
Those cookies were laced with a drug. It's a drug used mainly to induce an abortion. But it can also render people infertile. Answer me, did you eat any of those cookies?
Oh my word.
I heard that you were with the Crown Princess. Did she have any of them, too? I was the only one who ate them.
I did offer her some, but she declined and said eating them would be breaking the rules.
If people find out that Navier ate the cookies, there will be severe consequences. I can't let that happen. They said that the drug doesn't affect everyone the same way. We were served food made with ingredients that could neutralize the effects of the drug for a while afterwards, and we also took supplements that were good for our health. I don't think I need to tell him about the fact that I lied to my mother. I thought the drug had no effect on us. Because we only took it once when we were younger and we have been healthy so far. However, it's been on my mind ever since we became adults. I kept wondering which of us was affected by the drug's side effects and whether this was preventing us from having children. Or the drug could have rendered both of us infertile.
But when my mistress became pregnant, it became clear to me that I don't have any issues.
I had no idea about any of this. I understand why Emperor Sovieshu kept it a secret. It would have been a great scandal for the late Empress if people found out she had tried to trick someone into taking a drug that induces abortion. Plus, the late Empress really liked Navier.
It took longer than I expected to reach him because he was traveling at pace, but I managed to pass on your message to Marquis Falhan before he crossed the border. I'm glad you managed to reach him in time. I urged the Marquis to hurry, and returned immediately. Judging by how fast he was traveling, he may already have reached the capital of the Western Kingdom by now. But the High Priest has already made his visit, and the divorce proceedings will begin soon. By the time Heinrey arrives, it'll be too late. Tell his lordship that he may leave.
She's going to regret turning me away. I'm going to make her pay. What do I do? How do I put her in her place while making sure she still remains useful to me? It hasn't been announced officially yet, but the High Priest visited the palace and spoke to His Majesty in private and then spoke to Her Majesty separately. Is it? It's obvious what's going to happen next. Oh, didn't you know? After the High Priest has met with the imperial couple in private, the divorce trial will begin. I see. Slam, it must be because of Lady Rashta. His Majesty is completely besotted with that woman. They're going to divorce. Ha ha ha. His Majesty is divorcing Her Majesty. It's too early to tell whether this will be a good or a bad thing for me. End'll crash.
Miss Liberty is in front of the palace gates, pleading to see Your Majesty with tears in her eyes. Miss Lebetti? It seems news of the divorce has already spread. But still, it's the middle of the night. Send her in. Getting divorced, Your Majesty? Are you really? Miss Lebetti, you are out of line. It's fine. There's no need to cover it up since she already knows. You are right, Miss Lebetti. Your Majesty, it's because of Rashta, isn't it? Rashta's the reason for your divorce, right? I'll get revenge on your behalf. There's no need for that. You should look after yourself instead of plotting my revenge. No, I have to. Don't get involved with Rashta. Don't get CALIGHT up in the past, and focus on your own happiness. I need to say goodbye to everyone who has helped me over the years regardless of whether I am able to get remarried or not. I want to tell them that I am grateful for their help and support, so they shouldn't let themselves be consumed by anger on my behalf. They should put their happiness first. You're still alive, right? Are you okay, Queen? Don't die, Queen.
Alan, come over here.
I need to take care of you first. You are my #1 priority. It looks like you're going to be okay. Thankfully, the arrow didn't pierce you. You gave me quite a fright. This is going to sting a little, but it's for your own good. Does it hurt a lot? All done. I'm so happy to see you, Queen. It's been a while.
A giant golden bird has entered Her Majesty's bedchamber. What's the matter, father? I suppose he doesn't care if a few birds die as long as he can contact her. It's fine. There's no need to take action. You don't have to shoot down any messenger birds that are visiting her chambers any longer. I'm somewhere close by. I'd like to speak to you face to face. Please come over to see me in Duke Ergi's room anytime tomorrow.
I was expecting a letter explaining his situation. I can't believe he's already here. And he's staying in Duke Ergi's room at that. It's only been a few hours since Lady Artina came back and Marquis Falchan delivered the letter to him. How did he arrive at the palace so soon? I was expecting a letter explaining his situation. I can't believe he's already here. And he's staying in Duke Ergi's room at that. It's only been a few hours since Lady Artina came back and Marquis Falchan delivered the letter to him. How did he arrive at the palace so soon? Queen, why are you curling up in a ball to go to sleep?
Henry.
There, child. I am your grandfather.
OMY, is that Queen? Open, please keep it a secret.
His Majesty called for an emergency meeting on state affairs. He requested your presence at the meeting, Your Majesty.
Acting the same as usual in front of SOVIESHU isn't a bad idea, but I wonder how he will react if I try to make him feel guilty. That girl won't be able to escape from my clutches. Teehee as long as I have this baby.
Yes, that's right. What, His Majesty is getting divorced?
Hee.
My queen, do you mind if I give you a hug?
I don't mind. I heard everything. Everything? He must be talking about the emergency meeting.
I'm fine.
You're here now, so I feel fine.
You shouldn't be alone for much longer. That's right, thanks to you. Empress. I'm sorry, but I never meant to.
Spare me your apologies. I have no intention of accepting your apologies, so you should save yourself the effort.
Stand, I'm going to divorce Empress Navier. Please reconsider, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, I cannot support this. Your Majesty. But, it has already been decided. This meeting is just a formality. The divorce trial will begin soon. The meeting continued for a few hours. But it ended with SOVIESHU informing them that he will divorce me.
It wasn't kind of His Majesty to put you through this in front of so many people. Although Your Majesty hates me, I don't hate Your Majesty. I will remember you even when you're gone from the palace. You don't have to remember me. I want to be left alone.
I wandered aimlessly for quite a while after I left the throne room. Now I should be able to go anywhere without attracting attention.
WHO is it? It's me, Henry?
My queen.
How?
I've been waiting for you. I've always been waiting for you. But today I was waiting somewhere closer than usual. Does he want to hug me? Would you like some tea?
Yes, please. Did he have everything ready in advance? Why is it that Henry and the Duke always speak ill of each other when the other person isn't around? When they are supposed to be friends? Perhaps Duke Ergi. Where did the Duke go?
I sent him away. You sent him away? Well, ... I didn't want him to be around. Versa, I'll be honest with you.
I get very jealous. He gets jealous?
He's an infamous womanizer. I didn't want him near you.
I never felt shy in front of SOVIESHU because we knew from a young age that we were going to be married one day. But I feel a little awkward in front of Henry. I suppose we'll have to have marital relations even though it's a marriage of convenience. I noticed Duke Ergi isn't here. Where is he? Clench, I sent him away. I've already asked him that. And His Majesty may try to prevent you from attending the divorce trials.
Don't worry, my queen. I have everything planned out.
You have everything planned out. You should request approval for remarriage right after you agree to be divorced.
Then I will appear right at that moment. And give people the shock of their lives.
HereLee, did you come here after receiving my letter? I left as soon as I read it. You arrived not long after Lady Artina returned. I'm happy that you were able to get here so soon, but
I can't answer that right now, my queen.
I'll explain after we get married. It must be classified information. Alright, can I also ask you a question? What is it?
What's the first thing you want to do after we get married?
The first thing?
I wasn't asking about our first night together. Flustered, no. Wait, it sounds even more suspicious when I put it like that. I promise it wasn't meant to be an inappropriate question. I want to see the account books. The account books? Lord McKenna, can you tell me where His Majesty is? How can he be so busy that he doesn't have time to reply to one letter? His Majesty is currently away on some business far from here. What? It was urgent. The reason I decided to deliver the letter personally is because I wanted to see Corsair and observe King HereLee's reaction. What kind of business could be that urgent? Please wait a little longer. His Majesty will be back soon enough. How can I just sit here and wait? It must be something important if Her Majesty sent one of her people to give me a second letter before I could deliver the first. I'll come back later.
After I returned from seeing HereLee, my ladies-in-waiting and I were forbidden from leaving the Empress's palace. About 150 years ago, an Empress who was due to be divorced was found guilty of initiating a failed plot to murder the Emperor. Since then, nobody went in or out of the Empress's palace until the divorce trials began. Drip is passing quickly, even though it seems to be moving slowly. Time. I wanted to tell my parents about my plan to remarry. Since HereLee is now here.
I usually don't make mistakes like this.
I haven't felt this way since the days leading up to the coronation. Back then, I was afraid because I was going to be in a position where I'd have no one to correct my mistakes. But why am I feeling this way today? Are you here to say goodbye?
This is what we won't be apart for too long. He's choosing to say as a goodbye?
After a while, the day will come when we will have been divorced for longer than we have been married.
I still want to have you close to me after we divorce.
That won't be possible. We'll be strangers after we divorce. We won't become strangers just because we're divorced for a brief period. A brief period?
Everyone makes mistakes. You shouldn't feel bad about it. It makes you more relatable. I wanted to look good in front of you. Seeing SOVIESHU made me feel angry rather than empty inside. But it's actually better that things ended up that way because it helped strengthen my resolve to go through with my plan.
Don't worry. You were amusing, you were very dashing.
It makes me feel even more embarrassed when you say that with such a graceful smile on your face.
I think it's this side of him.
That makes me treat him just like I did before even though I know he's now a king. Are you ready, Your Majesty? I'm the same person I was a month ago.
I'm sorry. His Majesty told me to keep it a secret no matter what.
But my circumstances have changed completely. I don't know what I would have done. Your Majesty, if I didn't I have the plan that I made with HereLee to rely on. You are currently the talk of the town, my lady.
Really? You have no idea how proud I am to be working for you. Little does she know that she won't be able to do what she's so proud of for much longer. I'll ask Viscountess Verdi to step down and appoint ladies-in-waiting who are more trustworthy and from more prestigious families.
I can't believe you kept something so significant a secret from me. I'm a little disappointed.
How did you know? Well, I guessed it.
I understand. Everyone has their secrets. Do you have any secrets of your own? I think you should wear this. Shouldn't I go for something less flashy? It's not supposed to be a day of celebration. That's true for the Empress, but that's not the case for you, is it? You should show everyone
that it's your world now. I could barely breathe until a few seconds ago. But I actually feel fine now that I'm in the courtroom. She's wearing the kind of dress you'd wear to a New Year's ceremony. Does she still have nobody close to her that will give her good advice? But then again, it's none of my business.
You already took a peek at something I'm hiding. I did? Empress Navier of the Eastern Empire, your husband Emperor Sovieshu has requested a divorce.
You will no longer be the empress. If you accept his request, you will lose all the rights you had as an empress and as a member of the imperial family. You will no longer be able to use the imperial family name.
The ties that bound you two together as husband and wife will be severed. And you and Emperor Sovieshu will officially become single. If this is not what you want, you have the right to contest this divorce. Do you agree to the divorce? Your Majesty, this is preposterous. Please, calm yourself. How could this be?
What should we do? That, embarrassed.
Do you truly accept this divorce without any objections?
Yes, I accept.
He probably wants to look like a good man and emperor. Even as he casts me aside for the woman he loves. I'm sure he doesn't want to be bothered with slow divorce trial. And, I request an approval of my remarriage. What? Our remarriage?
You seek a remarriage? With whom? You can't blame it all on me, you know. You haven't been in your room for the last few days.
Is it time for my grand entrance?
That man is. The Western Kingdoms.
Navier, you couldn't possibly mean.
He is the one I wish to remarry. Murmur Duke, I wasn't expecting this. Murmur.
Is that really true, Empress Navier? Do you really mean Grin to get married to Prince Heinrey? I mean, King Heinrey? Yes, I want to make Navier my queen. It's because of that ill-tempered bird. Are you talking about that blue bird from the other day? What do you think you're doing? Don't you realize you're in my empire? I'm obviously here to propose. King Heinrey. I'll do things formally at a later time, but I rushed over here because I thought it might be too late if I missed this opportunity. I know this must seem quite sudden, but I beg you to consider the circumstances and approve of this marriage. High Priest Vimirey, it is illegal for King Heinrey to attend this court without obtaining prior consent. Is he asking me what I want?
If that's so, then.
I hope he isn't going to say no. I accept Empress Navier's request to marry King Heinrey. No, a different one. There's one that keeps plucking my hair. You must really like birds. The trial has now concluded. King Heinrey and Navier, please stand before me. I now pronounce you king and queen. Thank you, High Priest Vimirey. I will send you a formal invitation to our ceremony later. You don't need to do that. This was me attending your wedding. I don't think I can take time off my schedule a second time.
Empress, Queen Navier, I granted this marriage because I've watched you grow from a young age and I trust you. But I don't think this path will be an easy one to take. Thank you, High Priest. Be sure to throw a grand wedding and invite plenty of people. You must hold your head up high no matter what other people say. I will. I hope to see you there. I told you that I'm busy.
Stir Empress, Navier, what kind of treachery is this?
And don't say something like you're going along with it because you were proposed to. You know that's not the answer I want. Yes, I know what you want me to say, but I'm not going to answer you.
Only a little, because it's not something that an ex-husband needs to know. Fuming ex-husband? Fine, I'm your ex-husband, that I am, but I'm still the emperor of the empire you belong to, and I have no intention of granting my ex-wife the right to remarry. I knew it. I'm glad I was granted the approval to remarry immediately. That is up to me, Emperor Sovieshu. Yes, but I don't know what to wear. You're planning to attend the trial? Do you want my help picking something out? I've seen a lot of dresses in my time. You'll really help me?
That would be nice, but are you sure?
Allow me to thank you on behalf of my wife.
There's no need to apologize. I'm happy for you. It was immensely satisfying to see. Without any objections, I was so upset when you accepted the divorce. Laura, queens also need ladies in waiting. Countess Eliza has a good relationship with her husband, so she probably has to stay here. My husband and I have been living separate lives for quite a while now. He probably wouldn't even notice if I wasn't home for a year.
Let me assure you that you'll be treated better in my kingdom, so you can lay any worries to rest and come with Navier. She really is. She's ruthless, Your Majesty. King Heinrich's correspondent was the former Empress, Your Majesty.
She has been cheating on you with him for a long time.
I pretended to be his correspondent to cover for her.
I had no idea that she'd betray you like this, though.
Had I known that things would turn out like this, I would have said something to you. I'm so sorry. As for my in-laws, after my divorce and remarriage were concluded more or less at the same time, I stayed at my family residence to prepare for my move to the Western Kingdom. And the news traveled fast. I heard His Majesty ended up getting divorced. They haven't said why, though. It must be true that the Emperor is infatuated with his mistress. But that's not all.
Her Majesty secured approval for remarriage immediately after agreeing to the divorce. Lordine, a newsletter that is officially sanctioned by the imperial family. Oh my word, if it's printed in Lourdin, it must be true. Well, I can see why she would remarry him since he's the king of a foreign kingdom, but she's so level-headed that I didn't expect that from her. Being the Western Kingdom's queen beats having to live here as a former empress. She'd always be in the public eye. And why shouldn't she get remarried when His Majesty probably lives with his mistress?
She didn't even care about how His Majesty would look if she got remarried before the ink on the divorce papers had dried. She's betraying our empire by becoming the queen of the Western Kingdom. Duke and Duchess Trovi, Corsair is already in the Western Kingdom. There are some people who sympathize with you over the remarriage. But at the same time, they think it's a big loss to the empire because of your knowledge and expertise as a ruler. There's even talk among some of them about stopping the carriage from leaving.
None of those reactions are particularly surprising. I was expecting as much.
Have to say you were meticulous in your planning. How could you not say anything to me even when you were using me as a messenger?
I'm sorry.
Don't be. Instead, please just remember later down the line that I played an important role in helping you to get remarried. Are you ready? Yes.
Don't worry. I'll make sure that not even a single comb gets left behind. Thank you.
Are you going to have everything that you used in the Empress's palace brought over?
That's right. I have no other choice because I don't want RASHTA using my things. OR throwing them away. I'm sure they're still a little shocked that SOVIESHU divorced me and that I lost my title. But even though they are probably relieved that I don't have to live with the stigma of being an empress WHO was stripped of her title. I think the steward thinks that it's because I'm frugal.
The way he reacts is CLITE.
It would be nice if my parents followed me to the Western Kingdom, but... Empire. We can't prevent Navier or Corsair from moving to the Western Kingdom, but we can't move away from our homeland as well. How long do you plan on staying here, Navier? We can leave at any time because all the preparations have been made.
How do you feel about staying here for another 2 weeks, my queen? They were probably too worried about my brother to feel glad for me. Strange stature, I'm glad everyone is happy and relieved.
That would be nice, but is that really all right?
I need some time to win over your parents. I just remembered I have something to do. Marquis Falhan, Your Majesty, knights
have been stationed around the entire residence. What a cruel woman. I already knew that she didn't love His Majesty and only stayed by his side because she was blinded by her desire for power. But I can't believe she jumped into the arms of another ruler so quickly. Knights have been stationed around the entire residence. I thought that he would be celebrating the fact that he got divorced.
What is the meaning of this, Marquis Carl? I'm sorry, Your Majesty.
They're carrying out His Majesty's orders. I need to speak to His Majesty.
Doesn't he realize that detaining the Western Kingdom's king and queen will result in a diplomatic incident between our nations? If you care so much about diplomacy, then why did you steal someone else's wife? I've never done such a thing. You can't get away with such a barefaced lie after the stunt you pulled in court yesterday. You and Navier cut your ties to one another the moment you got divorced. She was clearly not someone else's wife at that point.
But I suppose my immediate remarriage put a damper on any celebrations. Heinrich, you're nothing but a scoundrel and a womanizer. Actually, we're both using each other. There's no need for you to be so shocked. We now lead separate lives.
So Your Majesty should return to the person you want to be with. The person I want to be with is you, Navier. But you were the one WHO took me to court for divorce. That's, I didn't divorce you so that you could marry some young scoundrel WHO knows nothing about you.
Was it that shocking to hear me say we're using each other?
You took advantage of Navier's trusting nature and seduced her, didn't you? But now I have plenty of time to get to know Navier. HereLee, APPROA, too many people are watching, Your Majesty.
I can't believe this is happening. They can't possibly intend to prevent everyone from leaving the residence, so why not try slipping out by disguising yourself as a maid? I was the one WHO proposed that we get married. My family members tried leaving one at a time, and it became clear that the knights were only concerned about preventing HEINREY and me from leaving. My parents requested an audience with SOVIESHU the following day.
But he refused to meet them. The longer he is detained here, the worse it will be for HEINREY.
Essentially, he is a king. WHO is being held captive because he went rogue and married a former empress from another country. It may affect my image, but HereLee's reputation will take the biggest hit. It's all right. It would be best if we could leave without a fuss, but I've made preparations for the worst-case scenario. Have you instructed Lord McKenna to do something? The Western Kingdom will make an official complaint in a few days.
Emperor Sovieshu was a terrible husband, but he's a good emperor. He'll have no choice but to let US go then. That would be a relief, but, by the way, there's something I want to ask you. It's, well, hesitating, feel free to ask me anything. It's about what you said yesterday. What I said yesterday. What you said about, chuckle, never mind. Were you going to ask me about why I revealed the fact that our marriage is one of convenience? Pardon? I'm sorry. I must have said it without thinking. No, that's not it. To me, you're not just someone I'm getting married to out of convenience. That's all I wanted to say. The fourth day that HEINREY and Navier have been detained in the house. Your Majesty may get away with holding Queen Navier here, but you must let HereLee return to his kingdom. Clench is taking his side so important that you'd lie to do it? The Western Kingdom doesn't see itself as an empire, but it is a strong nation, so we can't risk ruining diplomatic relations. Or perhaps, what is it? How about sending them a gift for the royal wedding? And making yourself seem generous, Your Majesty? It's true. Are you doing this to get revenge? Did you deliberately choose this young playboy to make me angry? Because I hate him? No, I didn't. You don't have to ruin your life to get your revenge. He's just using you. My life won't be ruined. How about sending them a gift for the royal wedding and making yourself seem generous, Your Majesty? It shouldn't be an issue if he treats Lady Navier as the daughter of a nobleman instead of the empress he just divorced.
I know it's not the most palatable choice, but it's the best option for him right now.
The problem is, he isn't prepared to consider it as an option. Let's see how generous you are. When your wife goes off and marries another man. Marquis Carl is right, but the High Priest will register HEINREY and Navier as husband and wife as soon as he returns to the Great Temple. Then Navier will officially become the Queen of the Western Kingdom. Navier was supposed to remarry me. Can you escort HereLee from Duke Trovi's residence? And he'd be admitting defeat if he let him go himself. So he wants to get around it by making it look like I'm rescuing my friend. Of course, Your Majesty. But what are you planning to do about Lady Navier? I doubt Navier is the Western Kingdom's priority right now. Marquis Carl and Count Firnir. I need you to hurry up and find me a law that can block the Empress's remarriage on legal grounds. I don't care whether you have to dig through historical archives, legal texts, or books on etiquette to find it. Just make sure that you do. We were supposed to be together again. Gaining Emperor Sovieshu's trust would be helpful for achieving my goal. Clip clop. But if I don't find a way to take Navier with US, he might get angry at me. It wouldn't put our alliance in jeopardy though, but if I leave with the Empress, the Emperor will become suspicious of me. What's the best thing to do in this scenario?
Yes, that's what I'll do. How can I get past the knights barricading my house? Concealing my identity won't work.
I'll be stopped if I try to climb over the walls surrounding the residence. And they don't allow carriages inside the gates.
Perhaps I was being too ambitious when I married HEINREY.
How?
Is that SOVIESHU?
Heinrich.
Duke ERGI? Oh, it's been a while.
Did you come here to see HEINREY?
Yes, how is he?
I heard he didn't even attend Heinrich's coronation, but maybe that doesn't mean that they're not close. I doubt he will give me a straight answer, even if I ask. Are you here on His Majesty's orders?
As usual, you're correct.
I want to discuss something with you before you meet with HEINREY.
That's not what was ordered of me. I'd like you to exercise your own judgment. As you wish. This should be a suitable place to talk since not many people come here. I'm looking forward to hearing what you wish to tell me in such a deserted spot. I wonder if Heinrich behaved the same way when he and the Duke were out socializing. Swagger should ask him later. Duke ERGI, I understand you're Rashta's friend. Is that right, Heinrich? I don't care if Rashta gets herself into trouble. But
She doesn't know how to dress appropriately for formal occasions. And she speaks just like she did when she first started living in the palace. I want you to help put her on the right path. If you think her actions might harm the people of the Eastern Empire. Rashta needs someone to advise her properly when she becomes the Empress, even if that means being prepared to stand up to her. I don't want to see my homeland and my people get caught up in whatever Rashta does to bring about her own downfall. Even when I'm the queen of the Western Kingdom.
my goodness.
Why do you have to ask me this in secret, though? I don't think it's a very difficult request. It's because I don't want other people, especially my family, to know about my request.
I was trying to decide between two different options on the way here. I had just about managed to make up my mind. So you're making things awfully difficult for me by making me feel terribly guilty. Dearie me, never mind.
I'm making you feel guilty?
Please don't concern yourself with how I deal with Lady Rashta. Instead, I'd like to ask you to go to your room and pack just a few things that you really need. Then come and meet us at the doors at the back of the residence. Please open the carriage doors. Have a safe journey. Your Majesty, Duke ERGI has arrived. You still haven't found a way to annul the remarriage yet? Royal and imperial marriages fall under the jurisdiction of the High Priest. GROAS. Of course, we can't find anything by looking through regular laws. There must be a precedent. She can't be the only Empress WHO has ever remarried throughout history. There's no way to annul the remarriage via the usual channels, Your Majesty. About 20 years ago, the King of the Southern Kingdom tried to annul his marriage after just 3 days. But the High Priest said the king couldn't invalidate the marriage just because he wanted to. Duke ERGI, I heard that you're friends with HEINREYI. It's true, Your Majesty. We've been friends since we were young. I can't detain the King of the Western Kingdom for too long, so I'm thinking of letting him return to his kingdom. That's good to hear. AHA.
This feels like I'm leaving as an escaped convict and not as a queen. Are you okay, my queen? What? You're laughing, too. You're just doing it silently. I wonder if they're having a staring contest or something. I was so embarrassed earlier. RATILE, I'm fine. I think it'd be better if I just go to sleep.
My queen. It's like a scene straight out of a fairy tale. Over the top, my heart skipped a beat from the rush of emotions when you opened your eyes and looked up at me. That's too much. Don't get up 100 quickly now.
Have we arrived?
No, we're at a village near the border.
Near Lux? Is this place?
I think this is where we must part ways.
Thank you, Duke ERGI.
It was fun, Your Majesty. Please, Darg, that's irritating. Seeing you look so happy is off-putting. I have arranged for a private guard to accompany you. He's not the most qualified, but he's someone we can trust. Please go with him, my queen.
What about you?
I'll make my own way back. It's better to travel separately because it would be suspicious if we went together.
Isn't that too dangerous? You could run into a band of thieves.
I'll be all right. Don't worry, my queen.
I suppose I don't need to worry since he went to WILWOL by himself that time.
And he'd be better off without me if he's good at getting around by himself. Which one of you is coming with me?
What if he tries to inspect my face? Will I be alright? Let's go.
However, there have been cases where divorce petitions have been withdrawn. What? It's not a common practice, but kings have definitely withdrawn petitions for divorce before. Emur Kerr, if you withdraw the petition for divorce, she'd be committing bigamy asterisk, so her remarriage will naturally be annulled as well. Is there no other method? I'm afraid not, Your Majesty. I wouldn't have planned something like this in the first place. Clench if I was just going to annul the divorce before my heir was born. If only the Empress wasn't infertile. I need to go to the Trovi estate. Navier's disappeared? How could you let something like this happen?
We don't know either, Your Majesty.
When we gathered to dine at the usual time, Navier and Heinrei had already disappeared. Duke Ergi must have snuck them out. The Empress has escaped. Find her, send people to every gate in the city, and tell them to detain any woman that looks like the Empress. Instead, I'd like to ask you to go to your room and pack just a few things that you really need. Then come and meet us at the doors at the back of the residence.
I can send for the other items later. So I should pack only the bare necessities. I'm going to pack things that are hard to buy, and things that remind me of special moments. Very well, we will act like we always do. 50 You should make your getaway as if you are taking a walk. The hallway at the back of the house. Has the Duke not arrived yet? My queen. He looks just like a happy puppy. What about your parents? I explained the situation to them.
My parents said that everyone within the estate is on our side, but that they'd act as they normally would, just in case. They told me not to worry and go. And I've been wondering who you take after, and it seems you take after your parents. That's not all that surprising, is it? I don't know about that. I'm not like my parents at all. Duke Ergi? His Majesty instructed that only Heinrei be let out of the estate.
It will be fine. No, thank you. I've worked with him a few times before, and he gets things done.
I agree with what the Empress did.
Is that so?
Sure. Some say it was selfish of her, but it's easy for them to talk about other people's business. She didn't ask for the divorce, and it wasn't mutually discussed. She was basically blindsided. Yet people talk about loyalty?
It's a bunch of hogwash. Yes, it is indeed hogwash.
Seems as if the men are struck with awe at meeting the queen they've only heard about.
I don't think that's why they're looking at me like that. But I should act as if nothing's wrong.
Please, step in, Your Majesty. I can't tell if he notices or not.
If royal guards WHO know how to keep their composure like this, then what about the citizens of the Western Kingdom? How will the nobles I encounter in high society look at me?
And what about those WHO knew me as the Empress of the Eastern Empire? Don't worry. For you or someone whom everyone falls in love with. All hail their majesties, the king and queen. Thanks to all of your love for this series, Season 1 of the Remarried Empress has come to a close without any issues. I wish I could show you the next season right away, but to ensure quality, I will be taking a break. Please be sure to subscribe so you'll be notified when Season 2 begins. I hope you'll continue loving what's to come. Thank you. The Remarried Empress, end of Season 1.
I accept, and I request an approval of my remarriage. So when you said you wanted to be more like me, did you mean you wanted to copy everything I do? Is sympathy the only thing you feel for Rashta? Are you saying that you only have value while you're loved by the emperor? But you aren't my lover. I was the one WHO proposed that we get married. But if someone comes at me with a knife, I'm not going to let them stab me just because they're weaker than me. Don't get caught up in the past, and focus on your own happiness. I want you to help put her on the right path if you think her actions might harm the people of the Eastern Empire. I hate that tramp so much.
Throne room of the Western Kingdom. It was rash of me to go to the Eastern Empire alone. I acknowledge that I gave you cause for concern. However, it was my own decision to do so. Lady Navier did not ask me to go to her. She is someone I have always revered and admired, and I have brought her here with some difficulty because I respect her remarkable competence as an empress. Ever since she arrived here, however, why have you all acted as if? Do you think she is something out of a fairy tale or something? There are many people who still consider Lady Krista to be their queen. Naturally, it is difficult for us to suddenly treat an empress from another nation as our queen without any prior warning. Marquis Catherine, foreign minister and cousin of the former queen, Krista. I, on the other hand, would be able to treat whoever takes your place in the same manner even if you were suddenly replaced tomorrow. She is the new queen and that is an irreversible truth, so I hope you will all be mindful of how you behave towards her from now on. The Queen's Palace. I heard there were many buildings abroad that were modeled after the Eastern Empire's Crystal House. I wonder if this building is one of those.
I feel a little better because I'm staying somewhere that feels familiar. Although the irony is not lost on me, my concerns were not unfounded. It seems like most of the people in the palace trust and respect Krista more than an empress from another nation. They say I am a cunning woman who managed to remarry as soon as I was divorced. And they want to intimidate me because they think I'll be arrogant since I'm from the Eastern Empire, and so on. The people I am yet to meet are probably also thinking the same. It would be wonderful if they could keep their positions. There are gems adorning the palace. And he hid gems in the cake he sent to me. Does he like putting gems everywhere?
We're married now, my queen. Please take this.
By the way,
Do you often enter rooms via the window? Well,
how was the meeting? Are there any problems with the kingdom's affairs? You were gone for a long time.
the biggest issue was my disappearance.
Krista probably feels threatened that I will drive her out. Just like how I felt when Rashta first entered the palace. But
I didn't do anything earlier because you told me not to get involved. But my queen, I want to make it clear to everyone that you are my wife and the queen of this kingdom. Everyone's already aware. They should act like it then.
if they can't do that, Heinrich,
When I need to do things on my own. Plage, I'm thankful that you're here for me.
but not even Sovieshu, as emperor, could control Rashta's reputation. This is something I must take care of myself.
I understand, but you have to tell me if there's any way I can help.
As a matter of fact, there is something I need your help with.
You want Sir Unim's sister to be her lady-in-waiting? What? It's just a temporary measure. Wow. And tell the ladies-in-waiting from the Eastern Empire that agreed to follow Navier arrive. Sir Yunim was out of line. Rashta was informed of my every move, even when I was still in the Eastern Empire, which was filled with people close to me. How is it Her Majesty's fault that Your Majesty was held captive in the Eastern Empire after you flew there of your own accord? Indeed. By the way, I haven't seen Corsair around. He said he's worried that he might cause trouble for Her Majesty if he turns up now. He's probably doing his best to stay out of sight. Lord Corsair does have a bad reputation. After all, I'll have to give him something to do that will improve his reputation, although I do feel bad since it feels like I'm giving my brother-in-law work to do. It's time to get on with wedding planning. Aren't you in charge of it? It's usually the Queen who does it. The Queen is the highest-ranking figure in the palace for these matters, and in most cases, the Crown Prince marries before he takes the throne. But right now, it would look good for Lady Krista to lead the wedding planning even though she's the former queen. However,
That's not a good idea because that will shore up her position even more. But if Navier leads the wedding planning by herself, it will give high society a reason to tear her down. What shall we do?
it's obvious. I'll have to handle it myself. If you throw a big wedding, people will say you are spending too much because you've been blinded by love. I plan to declare myself emperor. And now I have to live among people who resent me. I beg your pardon? I'm going to declare myself emperor on my wedding day, then. They won't be able to say it's too extravagant no matter how lavish it is. My heart. My heart is beating really fast. Now Lady Navier will become the Western Empire's first empress. Then the fact that she is from another country and the scandal about her past will be buried by the glory of the kingdom being elevated to an empire. Hurrah! In the past, we were able to focus on building up our riches and maintaining the military might of the royal family by not granting the nobles more land and by restricting the number of soldiers they could have. But the power of the crown has weakened significantly due to my brother staying bedridden for a long time, not to mention the fact that he already had a lenient nature. Although it's still not 100 late 10 control them.
Simply reducing the number of the opposing nation's mages will not swell the ranks of our own mages. Therefore, the military must be guided well to ensure that. McKenna, what's the status on the student from the Academy of Magic? Ah.
You mean the one your majesty said we should restore the mana to? It takes a long time to take mana from someone, and it will take even longer to restore the mana that they lost. I see, but do we really have to restore her mana? She's from the Eastern Empire, so even if we restore her mana, she'll still be a citizen of the Eastern Empire. It also costs a lot of money. And she's just one person. Just restore her magic. Isn't it pathetic how easy she is to read? Rose Quevel, sister of Yunimquevel, the captain of the Royal Guard, is to be appointed as a temporary lady-in-waiting for the new queen. It seems like she's the type to use her head, at least.
Perhaps she wants to bring me in and do her best to pretend to be a benevolent and kind queen. This is probably because you acted arrogantly in front of Her Majesty, isn't it? Rose Quevel, the sister of Yunim, the captain of the Royal Guard. Well, I suppose that means we both have something in common. We both have hot-tempered brothers.
I don't hit other people. Yeah, right.
Well, fine. I'll act as her temporary lady-in-waiting. And see whether the new queen will be helpful to our kingdom. The Eastern Empire, Your Majesty. I don't understand why he's being so restless despite the fact that the divorce was finalized successfully. It's a good thing that the former empress went to the Western Kingdom.
Apparently, there are rumors going around that the former empress fled from the empire.
Don't worry, her reputation has been badly tarnished.
Everyone is on your side. WHO told you that?
Duke Ergi.
Ergi. That bastard obviously helped Navier escape. If only he wasn't part of a foreign royal family. Don't spend time with Duke Ergi.
Sorry, why not?
He's not someone you should be socializing with.
Honestly, is he jealous? I'm his only lover now that the former empress is gone. But because I'm spending time with Duke Ergi. Can you show me to the dressing room? She probably prepared herself for this in her own way, but I wasn't just sitting here waiting for her either. If she came here thinking that I needed her to like me, I'll have to shatter that assumption. It's here, Your Majesty. Dazzle, Your Majesty. I didn't bring many clothes with me, so please prepare 6 dresses that I can wear immediately. Of course, what kinds of dresses would you like? I'd like 3 dresses that I can wear on a day-to-day basis, 2 that I can wear while working, and a simple one that I can wear to a banquet, just in case. Is there a particular style you would like, or? I don't know the ways of the Western Kingdom, so I will leave that to you. This way she won't be able to find fault with how I dress. As you wish, Your Majesty. Could you show me around the palace now? I have to familiarize myself with the layout. The Western Kingdom produces gemstones, the clacks, so it has a lot of them. He likes sparkly things, just like a bird. I had forgotten about that. I'll ask HereLee if McKenna is a bird when he comes. One moment, please wait. WHO is it? He's one of the journalists WHO are permitted to enter the palace. It's better to meet them later when the official press conference is scheduled. There more than one journalist with access to the palace? There are 3 newspapers whose journalists are permitted to enter the palace at present. Only 1 journalist per newspaper is allowed to enter the palace grounds at any given time. Are the other 2 with Krista? Or maybe Krista doesn't like journalists wandering around the palace. Either of these situations might be helpful to me right now. It seems you have a question for me. What is it?
Well.
How did you get remarried so fast? Don't worry, you're the only one I love. Duke Ergi is just a friend.
You came to relax for the sake of the baby, but we ended up only talking about serious issues. Alright, what do I need to do? Don't spend time with Duke Ergi. He's not someone you should be socializing with.
But it can't be helped.
Baron Lonta is kind and smart, but he's on His Majesty's side in the end. And Viscountess Verdi seems really untrustworthy.
Delise is loyal, but I don't like how she acts every time she sees His Majesty. Arionne is a hard worker, but she's too quiet.
There's not a lot of people WHOI can trust like the DLIKE. The nobles can meet you in person and make up their own minds about you regardless of what the rumors say, but the commoners can't. So you have to be on good terms with the press if you want to target the commoners. You'll be able to figure out what the people of this nation want if you listen to their questions.
That's not necessary. If only I could tell the Duke that I'll be made Empress soon. Then he'd tell me things that would be of immediate help to the Empress and not how to become one.
You said you wanted to become the Empress to protect yourself and the baby.
There's nobody that can harm me now that the former Empress is gone. The next Empress might hate you even more. I'm the next Empress.
Listen, I'm being serious. Don't just let it go in one ear and out the other.
Oh, all right, so you want me to be nice to all the journalists. Is that right?
Exactly.
If someone is nice to both you and your enemies, that means they're not on your side in the end, doesn't it? There are two types of journalists.
Journalists WHO are close to the nobles, and those WHO oppose them.
Do I have to get close to the journalists WHO or close to the nobles since they're more likely to be supportive of royalty, too? That's not necessarily always the case. If the royal family doesn't have a good relationship with the nobles, then they have to become closer to the journalists WHO or hostile to the nobility. In other words, you have to know how to pick sides. But commoners are definitely hostile towards the nobility, Lady Rashta. You have to keep that difference in mind and decide which side you want to associate with. How do you know which journalists are sympathetic towards commoners and which ones aren't?
You can find that out by reading all the news articles from the past 3 years.
My baby doesn't want to hear things like that. Can we change the subject? Tell me about something that's more interesting. I'm Rose Quevel, Your Majesty's temporary lady-in-waiting. Thank you for agreeing to my request, Rose. I'm looking forward to your assistance. I'm happy to help, Your Majesty. She looks like she's challenging me to give her orders.
So, that wraps up this chapter, folks. I'm concluding the video right here. Stay tuned for the thrilling developments in the next episode. And don't forget to show your support with a like and subscribe, fueling my motivation to bring you even more captivating comic chapters in the future. Until next time, happy reading!